Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to explore a data set relating to sales and we are going to answer some specific questions relating to the data. We are going to go from analyzing their sales revenue to creating a customer segmentation analysis on the data set. We are going to use the sales data sample dataset originally from Kaggle. I have a copy of the dataset in my GitHub repo, which I'm currently showing here. We are going to use that data, so I'll share a link in the description below so that you can download this file and then you can work along with me. For this demo, we are going to use both SQL and Tableau. I believe we are going to use about 80% of SQL and about 20% of Tableau. For the Tableau portion of this demo, we are going to use Tableau Public. So if you do not have Tableau Public already installed, then I'll share a link in the description below so that you can download and install. This is the link that I'll be sharing. When you go to the website, you just click on the download app, and then you have to input your email address, and then you can download the Tableau desktop application. Because once we are done building our dashboards, we are going to publish those dashboards onto Tableau Public so that we can share with anyone the work that we have just done, right? Here are some of the outputs of what we are about to work on today. This is dashboard 1 that I built with the same data set, and this is dashboard 2 that I built with the same data set. So get Tableau Public downloaded and then install it, and then you can work along with me. For the SQL portion of this demo, we are going to use Microsoft SQL Server. We are going to download the CSV file from the GitHub repo, and then we are going to upload it or import it into a table in the database in SQL Server, okay? Because that is where we are going to write our syntax for the analysis we're going to perform on the data set. Now, if you do not have SQL Server 2019 installed, I have a video on that already. I'll share a link in the description below to that video as well, but I think I can show you, this is the video. I call it Learn SQL with Microsoft SQL Server, installing SQL Server 2019 and restoring the database. So check that video out. You'll be able to have SQL Server on your computer, and then you can restore a database and even create a database. I have all of that explained in that video, okay? And in SQL, we are going to use common table expressions. We are going to use aggregate functions and some window functions as well, okay? So with all that said, let's get into our SQL Server Management Studio and begin the demo. I'm going to create a connection to my database engine. I'm going to click on this plug here, and I'm going to do my SQL Server authentication connectivity. So I hit connect, and on the databases, I'm going to use an existing database that I have called PortfolioDB. And over here on the tables, I do not have the sales data already imported, so I'm going to right click on the database, and I'm going to go to task, and then under task, I'll go to import flat file, and then I'll browse to the location of the file. And this is the location of the file. It's a CSV file, so I click on open. And then over here, this is the same name I want to have in my database as the table name, so I'm not going to change anything here. I'll just hit OK. Sorry, I'll hit next and move on. So I'll just inspect the data quickly, and I believe the data looks good. So I'll go next again, and then I'll hit finish. Operation complete. So I'll close this window, and then I'll refresh my tables here. There we go. So now we have the sales data sample in our database. All right. And in order to keep this demo short, or not to make it too long, I have some of my scripts already prepared. So some of the syntax, I'll just copy and paste them, and some of them I'll just, walk through the syntax or type the syntax as I walk through the problem. Okay. But for now, let's inspect the data we just imported. Okay. So I'll do a select star from this table. I'll hold the table, and then I'll drag and drop onto my canvas like that. I'll hit execute. Uh-oh. It failed because I only had the table selected. I have to select everything. I'll leave everything unselected. Execute. Okay, so we have the order number, we have the quantity ordered, price, sales, order date. This is very important, and the status. Okay, some of the data points we probably may have to do a distinct search so that we see the unique values present in these columns, right? So for example, we want to see the distinct values in the status. Maybe we have shipped or ordered or whatever, right? And it appears that they have broken down the date into year, month, and quarter, which is very good. Depending on the analysis you want to make, it will come very handy. And we have their product lines. Yeah, we can do a distinct on the product line too to see how many different product lines they have. And the product code, okay, that's a good one. We have the customer, we have the phone address, I mean the customer location, I believe, yeah. And then we have the country, then the territory here. And then we have the deal size. That's another good one that we can do a distinct on just to see the unique values. I already have a script on that, so let me just copy and paste those. Let me give this a subheader here saying inspecting data, inspecting data. And then over here, we'll be checking unique values. Okay, values. And I'm going to paste the script here, but I'm going to run them one after the other. So I'm doing a select distinct. And in SQL, when you do a distinct, you mean you want to see the unique values present in that specific column. Okay, so the first one that I passed was the status. So if we run the script and execute, we have 6 different statuses. We have the resolved, on hold, cancel, ship, disputed, and then in process. Now this would be a nice one to plot in Tableau, I believe. But and let's see the distinct year. What is the time frame for the data set? Okay, so we have from 2003, 4, and 5. Okay, so 3 years. And then the product line, we want to see the distinct. Okay, there are 7 different products. They have trains, motorcycles, ships, trucks and buses, vintage cars, classic cars, and planes. That's nice. And then they have the country. How many countries are there in this data set? 19, from Finland to Singapore. Okay, maybe this is a nice one to plot too. Nice to plot, just to keep track. And this is also nice to plot. I don't know about the year because it depends on what I'm trying to do. But let's see the deal size. Oh, okay, they only have the medium, the large, and then the small. Nice to plot as well. And then we have the territory. They have 4 different territories in the data set. This will be also good to plot. So, all right, so now that we have seen our data, let me just run the entire thing again. We have a fair idea of what the data looks like, the unique values, and all that. So let's start with the analysis. Let's do some, let me say analysis. So let's start by grouping our sales by product line, okay? Now I'm going to do some aggregate functions, and I'm going to do a sum of the sum of sales by the product line, okay? And let's see which product sells the most. So I'm doing the product line, the aggregate function sum, and I'm calling the sales as revenue, okay? This is like an alias, okay? And then this is the database I'm working with. You can choose to call the database, but because we already have it selected here, maybe I can just remove it like that. This is just to show you. And we are grouping by the product line because anytime you introduce an aggregate function, you have to do a group by just to categorize the sales across the product, okay? And then we are going to order by the revenue, which is 2, in the position 2, okay? And we are doing descending order such that the highest amount will be on top and then the least amount will be at the bottom. So let's run this again. Okay, so what we are looking here, it appears classic cars is the best product line they have, followed by vintage cars because they made most of their sales on the classic cars. We can do the same by checking the sales across the year, right? Now that we know which product sells the most, let's see which year they made the most sales, because that would, whatever they did in that year, they probably could replicate it in the other years, right? Okay, so it appears that 2004 is the year they made the most sales, followed by 2003, and then 2000. Well, it appears they didn't make a lot of sales in 2005. I don't know what, if there was no marketing, or I don't know, but oh, maybe they didn't operate in the entire year. Let's quickly do this. Let's do this. Let's find out if they operated the full year in 2005, right? So I'm going to do select distinct, where the year is 2005. But this time I'm doing the distinct on the month so that I'll see how many months are there. So let's run this. Okay, so they operated just for 5 months in 2005, okay, from January to May. but I believe they did a full year operation during 2004 and 3. Perfect. So this is 12. Let's see 2003, 2003. Okay, so they had a full year operations in 2 years, and then about half of the year in 2005 they operated. All right, so now we see the reason why the sales in 2005 is pretty low. Maybe if they had operated in the entire year, they could have, made a lot of sales, I believe. So let's quickly do another group by with the deal size. We saw there were 3 different sizes: the small, medium, and large. So let's see which of these. Okay, so apparently the medium sized deals are the ones they generate the most revenue from. So probably they should start focusing on that, or if they want to make sure that small deal sizes are also generating more revenue, they can put in some type of marketing or advertisement or whatever in there and see how it goes. So let's look at another analytics, and let's check what was the best month for sales in a specific year. Okay, and we want to see how much was earned in that particular month in the year. I already have a script for that as well. I would quickly explain what this is. So I have the month ID, and then I have the sales, the sum of sales again, and I'm calling that revenue, and I'm doing the count of the order. So the individual orders that there were in a specific month, I'm just doing the count, and I'm calling that as a frequency, okay? And then I'm just doing from the same table, and then the year, I'm choosing a specific year. I can change the year to see the rest, right? So right now I'm doing only for 2003, and I'm grouping by the month because these two are both aggregate functions, so I have to only group by the month ID, right? And then I'm doing the order on the revenue. So I'm running this, and let's see what we get. So we see that the month of November and October are the two, great months. But I would say November is really their best month because the amount of revenue generated as number 1 compared to what is for number 2 is almost like twice, right? So I would say the month of November is like an exceptional month for them. And the frequency of orders even tell us that they really had a lot of orders in November. We can quickly switch this to 2004. We are not going to do this as analysis on for 2005 because remember, the data is up to May, so it will not be a true reflection of their entire year for 2005. So I'm going to run this. Did it run? Nice. So again, November is the exceptional month for this company. Okay, look at the frequency of orders, 301, and the value of, the total revenue is again more than twice what the second month is, which is October, right? So now we can see that the best product is classic cars and the best month is November. So probably we can do this analysis here. Okay, so I'm thinking November seems to be the best month, right? So what product are they selling in November? And I believe on this for November, it has to be classic. Okay, so I have a query for that as well. So I'm going to run this quickly here. And it's just the same query here at the top. What I'm just doing is I'm adding on the where clause, I'm adding one more thing, which is the month. And I'm saying, sorry, the month has to be November, okay? Because I'm more interested in the top, which is November. And I'm doing the group by. Remember, now that I introduced product line, I have to pass that in the group by clause because it is not part of the aggregate functions. So let me run this. And I'm doing the order as 3 because the third column is the revenue column. So let's run this for 2003. Yeah, for the month of November, the best product line was classic cars, which makes sense, okay? And I believe it should be, okay, and vintage cars is the next, but I believe 2004 should reflect the same, results. There we go. We have classic cars and then vintage. Okay, so now let's go into some more interesting analytics. Let's see who our best customer is, okay? And for that, we are going to do an RFM analysis. So before I actually even get into the syntax for the RFM analysis to determine who our best customer is, I'm just going to explain what RFM is, then we can continue, okay? RFM means recency, frequency, and monetary, okay? That is RFM. It is an indexing technique that uses past purchase behavior to segment your customers. Remember, this data set that we have, we have the historic data set of the customers, right? So we're going to use this indexing technique to determine a segment or to classify our customers into some segments that we have predetermined, okay? So we can choose to see whether this customer is a high value customer or a low value customer, or this is a customer that has to be kept, or this is a customer that we are losing. We can use this analysis to determine these segmentations, right? Now, RFM uses 3 key metrics, okay? The recency here means how long ago their last purchase was. And the frequency is how often they purchase, okay? And then the monetary value is how much they spend. So in this data set that we are working with, the recency is going to be the last order date. So if we take a customer, then we have to see what was the last date they made an order with this company, all right? And then the frequency is just the total order counts, which I showed in one of the queries that I had. Now the total money spent, which is the total, the sales amount, we can either do the sum or the average, okay? Because I believe both of them should work the same way. If we sum up your entire sales with us and we strike an average, it should give us a clear picture of how much you typically spend, okay? So this is what we are going to do to determine who is our best and who is not, all right? So I will start is by pasting a base query that I have. All that I'm doing here is that I have taken the customer and I've done some aggregate functions. I have the monetary value, the sum of the monetary value, and then I have the average, and then I have the count of the orders, and then I have the max date that will show me the last order date for the customer. So if I run this, we're going to see the customer name and all these values and frequency. What I'm missing here is the maximum date, maximum order date in the entire data set, okay? Because I'm going to do a day difference between the customer's last order date versus the maximum date in the data set to determine the recency. So what I need to do is that I want to capture, I'm making a mess, but permit me here. It will all fall in place from this same table. Okay, and I want to put the entire script here in a parenthesis, and I'll call this the max order date in the table, right? The max order date in this table. Now let me run this and see what the date is. Okay, so May 31st is going to be passed across all the customers, okay? So once I run this, yeah, so now we see the customer's last order date and then the maximum order date in the data set. So what I need now is a date diff, because now I need to capture the recency. So I'll do a date diff. Let me do a comma here so that there's quickly lines. Equally date diff. And with this function, you see the info over here. It says that it needs an interval. The arguments that it requires are 3. It needs an interval. In this case, I'm doing the days difference, so I'll pass day, and then the starting date, and then the ending date, okay? So I'm going to open parentheses, and I'm going to pass DD, that is days, and then I'm going to pass the customer's last order date. Ooh, I made a mistake. Okay, so I'll put this here. And comma, I'm going to paste all of these. Okay, I have this query here that returns just one record. I'm going to paste that as the ending date. All right, and I'm going to call that as recency. Let me execute this query. Perfect. So now it's giving me the difference between the customer's last order versus the maximum date in the data set. And now this customer made an order in over a year ago. Okay. And this one is a little bit less than a year. Now this one is kind of close, right? The last purchase in May 17th, so 14 days difference. All right, so now that I have all these going correctly, I need to do my entile. Now, what I mean by entile is that I want to group this 92 records into 4 equal data groups, okay, 4 equal buckets. And to be able to do that, there's a function in SQL, it's a window function. And I want to just, you know what, put this whole result set into a CTE called RFM before I do my entile function. Okay, so I'm going to select from RFM. Sorry, I'm going to pass an alias R to the RFM, and I'm going to select all of that. Let me execute this. It is working. Perfect. So now I'm going to do my bucketing. I'm going to do entile. And in the parentheses here, I need to pass the number of buckets I want to create. I want to create 4, maybe 3. Let me do 4. That's what I already tested. And I'm going to do over, and I'm going to do order by. And in this case, I'm going to order by recency. And I'll call this RFM recency. Let me copy this and make this faster. I'm going to do one for frequency and one for monetary. Okay, so I want to copy this. Sorry, remove this and call it frequency. Wow, where did I type frequency? And I'll call this monetary. So I'll change this from recency to frequency, and I'll change it from, let me do the average. If it doesn't work out well, I'll do the sum, which is the monetary value. So let's run this here and see. So now what I'm getting is that, let me see for a second. So for recency, this is 4, and this is 4. And over here, this is 1. Oh, so the closer the date to the max date, the lower the number. Let me see descending. Petit auto. Okay, so the closer the order date to the max order date in the data set, the higher the values that I'm passing here. And I want to do the same for frequency. So let me see order by 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 descending. I'm just checking quickly what good. So with the frequency, the higher the volume, the better for me. And now I'm seeing 4 as the biggest value, which is good. And I'll do the same for monetary then. Yeah, the bigger the value, the bigger my monetary cell value. Okay, it's looking good. So I'll only order by descending order because of the way I want to categorize my data set. So now that I have this, what I want to do is I want to remove this order by, not really necessary. I just wanted to use that to test what I needed to do with my, values. So I'm going to pass this whole results here into another CTE because now I'm going to do my case statement, right? So what I want to do is that I want to call this RFM calc, and I'll do as, and I'll open parentheses and pass this to the parentheses. Okay, let me bring this down. Okay, and give this one tab. Okay, so now I have to select RFM calc. I'm going to call it C, and I want to call it here C.star. That's my alias. Copy all that and run it. Good. So now we are getting everything, and everything is in place. I love this. The only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do some concatenation. I'm going to just do, because this is numeric values, if I do the plus in terms of concatenation, it's going to add the values together. So for this, I'm going to get 3, right? And I want to call that RFM cell. Ooh, I type FRM. RFM cell. How is it going? Okay, good. And then I want to create another one. It's going to be the same thing, but then I'm going to make it like 1, 1, 1. So I have to cast this as string, because if I don't, it will just add them up like numeric values. So I'll do cast as varchar over here like that. And then I'll do the same. Oops, let me copy this part. And then I'll do the cast, and I'll paste this here. And I'll do my cast again, and then I'll paste this here, and I'll call this RFM cell, and probably add a string at the end of it. String. Let's see if it's working as expected. Look at that. So now we have 1, 1, 1, and then we have 3. Perfect. So now, to prevent me from running all these scripts together all the time, what I can do is that I can put my result set in a temp table, so that I can only call the temp table, because with the CTE I always have to run the script from line number 51 all the way down, and it's a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass all these things that I just did into a temp table. But before that, let me check this. I'm saying that drop table if exist. Okay, because the temp table I'm going to create is going to be called hash RFM. Because it's a local temp, I'm just using one of them. If I was doing a global temp, then I'll do double of that. Okay, so now I'm going to say that if it exists, drop it. And I'm going to copy that, and I'll pass it here as a select into. Remember, with select into, you create the table as you run your script. So I'm going to say select all this query and create this temp table. Okay, and then after that, I'll do a select with that table. Then I don't have to be calling the CTE all the time. So run this. Perfect. Okay, so now let me select from here. Select star. Ooh, I didn't mean to remove my select. Select star from here. Now I'm going to just run this. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, so here now I'm going to do my segmentations, and I'll use a case statement in SQL to do that. I already have some, case statement written because it took me a minute to do that. So I just want to pass that quickly, and then we can. But for now, the only thing I want is a customer name, and then I want these values here. Just undo. Just these values here, and I'll replace the plus with comma. Okay, so for this temp table, perfect. And now I'm going to add my case statement. I already have it here. Let me just copy the case statement because it took some time to work on that. Paste. So if you're not familiar with case statement, it's not really a complex syntax, but all that I'm doing here is that I'm saying that, remember I created this RFM cell string, and I'm saying that open a case statement whenever the cell string contains the following values. Classify them as lost customers, okay? Whenever the cell string contains these values, classify them as loyal. That is all that I'm doing in terms of my segmentation. You can make it very simple. You can only have 3 case statements. Probably you can have a high value customer, mid value customer, and then a low value customer. That's it. I just wanted to go into a bit more detail so that you see I have here slipping away, cannot lose customer. I mean, just to make it interesting. So let's run this and see. Interesting. Okay, execute. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? I see a lot of nulls. I didn't categorize them. Oh, you know what? When I did my example, I did let me change this a bit. Instead of the average, let me see what I get with the sum. Control R, and I'm going to run all of this again to replace my temp table. Okay, now let me run this again and see if I'll have all of these values. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Well, I still have some of them missing, but it's better than before. We can look at those later. But you see, the RFM that I did, I was saying that whenever the customer made a most recent purchase, give the recency value a higher number. And I did the bucketing in 4. So I have 1 to 4 values. So whenever I see 4, that means they have a higher value. Okay, whenever I see 1, it's a low value. So for this customer, I say they are new customers because they recently made the purchase and they've only had 1 purchase with us. And I mean, the amount they bought is not that big, but it's okay. Maybe they are new customers. Maybe over time we will get more value from them. And the ones that I say loyal, okay, they buy a lot. Oh, so they buy frequently, and the number of items they buy are usually a lot, and the amount they spend is quite big. And I call those loyal. And all the ones with the 4 who are like are my most loyal customers. Okay. Now these ones I say, slipping away cannot lose because I mean, we can lose them because when they buy a lot and the amount they spend is big. However, they don't buy frequently. So I don't know if we are losing them or we are not, but I believe this category could be slipping away as well. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just add it here. 144. All right. Look at that. Yep. It's getting close, but you get the point. So this is how you can categorize your customers, and then whenever you want to send out a marketing campaign or some type of advertisement, you know which customers you want to target for which program, right? So yeah, this is the RFM that I wanted to do in SQL, and the next analysis we probably would take a look at is what products are most often sold together. Okay, I'm going to go down here. And for this, I'm going to do a lot of sub queries, a lot of sub queries, and then I'll do for XML path because I'm going to convert rows to columns. And then, yeah, I'll show you in a bit. Again, I have a base query, and the base query that I have here is I'm doing a count of all the orders that shipped. So if it is still under processing or is on hold, I mean, it wasn't yet sold. So I want to do only the ones that have shipped to the customer. So once I run this script, we see that we have a lot of orders that, yeah, the order number is not unique in the sense that on one order, there could be multiple line items. But for this particular one, it's unique. There's only one line item. So for example, let me take this first one. Order number. Okay, you see we have 9. So we will definitely see 9 records. So this record here is not unique, but the order line item is unique. So basically for this customer, for this particular order, remember the order date is the same. It means they made this order at the same time and they ordered 9 different products. Okay, now what I'm trying to achieve with this query is that I want to see which products are often sold together. And I want to do that with numbers. So let's say which 2 products are often sold together or which 3 products are often sold together. That is what we are hoping to achieve. Okay, so let me move this script, X this, and put it at the top. And then I'm going to comment it out. And then I'll continue with my query. So now I'm going to select all of the records, all of the order numbers where the order count, which is the row number, is equal to 2, because I want to see which 2 products are usually sold together, right? From this query, where RN is equal to 2. Oh, I have to give it the entire script like this. I have to give it a name. So I want to call it this M. Run this again. Okay, so there are 19 orders where there were only 2 items ordered. Okay, only 2 items were ordered for these particular orders. Now, what I want to do is that I want to see the product codes for these orders. So I have to do another sub query, but this time I'm doing the sub query with a where clause because I'm going to select from this table now. Okay, from this table, and I'm going to say where the order number is in, okay, the order number in this query that I have here at the bottom. Okay, so now I want the product code. Product code for these orders. Okay, so remember, because now it changes to 38 because now it's no more unique. Although I have the order number in this 19 records, remember there was a line item for each product they bought. So we can do a distinct to rectify that, but for now let's give it 38. So what I want to do next is that I want to add a comma. Okay, and then I'll explain why I need a comma, because I'm about to append the product codes for each order on one column instead of rows. You know, we have multiple rows. I want to say that if for a particular order there were 2 product codes, append them in a column rather than in the rows. And I need to use the separator comma to do that. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to do something called XML path. So I'm going to do for XML path I believe this is the syntax, and I'm going to do nothing. And let's see how it converts my result set onto one line XML code, XML results. Okay. Oh dear, my mouse. Execute this. Look at that. Okay, so now we have the result set in XML. If I click on this, you see the results. All of them have been appended with a comma on one column instead of one row. Now, what I can do now is I can do stuff to say I want to remove the first, what is it called, comma at the beginning of the string. And once I do that, once I do the stuff, the result set of a stuff is always a string. So it would convert this data that I have here. Now that it's in XML, if I do the stuff function and I take away the comma, the leading comma, it's going to convert the results to a string for me. And that is what I need to be able to achieve. I'm going to do select stuff. It is expecting the expression that we need to search, the starting position, the number of characters that we want to affect, and then what the replacement is going to be. So 4 different arguments. Now that I've opened parentheses for my stuff, because the expression here is like an entire script, I just want to put all of those expression into a parentheses before I start passing the other arguments. So now I'll pass my starting position, and number of characters to extract or stuff, and then what do I want to replace it with? In this case, nothing. I'm only removing the first character. So I'm saying at the starting position and at the character 1, stuff, nothing. Okay. So this is the stuff function. We are passing our expression, which is this, and then we are passing the starting, the number of characters, and what we are starting with. Let's see how it looks. Look at that. So now it has converted the results from XML to a string. Yeah, we are a step closer. Now I need to know the order number for these product codes, right? So what I can do now is that before the stuff, let me just do the order number. Now remember, the stuff function, we didn't have to select it from a table, it's just a function. But now that we are looking for the order number, I may have to do a from, and I'm going to use the same table again. Okay. Wow, this mouse. Okay. I'm going to do a select from this, and I'm going to give it an alias S. Okay. Now, because I've been calling the same table multiple times, let me give this one an alias P. Let me just give it something. So I'm going to say that select the order number from this table, and then, my stuff was already working. And now if I run this, it's going to show me everything rather than all the orders with only 2 product codes, right? Now it's showing me the entire data set. So what I need to do is that I need to do a join. So what I can do here is I have to do where the order number in this, order number, and I'd say this table P, okay, P dot order number is equal to this order number, okay, S dot order number, okay. Let's see what we have now. I don't expect it to. Okay, let me order by 1, and let me see if I need to do a distinct before I do what I need to do next. Yep, there are multiple, yeah, because there was for each product code there was an order number for it, and I need to do distinct, and I need to run this to reduce my data set. What have I done? Let me run this again. Okay, good. So now that I have my data working, I reduced it to 307. So now I want to order by, let me call this product code so that they have a name. You see this, the column has no name. I'm just going to call it product codes. And then I'll run this here. And for all the records, you see, because we did on P number to S number, all the products, all the orders where there were more than 2 product codes, they are showing nothing because there was no record here to be joined. So maybe I can do an order by 2 so that I can only see the records that I am interested in. Oh, undo. Good. So now I did order by 2 descending order. Now I'm only seeing the top records where the products were only two, product codes were only two. So now that we see a combination, for example, look at line number 11 and 12. Well, no, line number 11 and 12, yeah. The products that were sold, the order numbers are different. So I believe they're different customers, but they bought almost the same products. Okay, so this is an easy way to track which products are usually sold together. And look at here, 15 and 16. You see different orders, but the same stuff. So if you're trying to run some promotions or some campaigns, you can, advertise those things together because you have a higher chance of, customers buying those things together. We can switch this to 3. And by doing so, we only see products, orders with 3 products that were purchased together. Okay, 3 products purchased together, and there were only 13. Okay, so over here we see product code 1, 2, and 3. All of them are separated with comma, so it makes it easier to see. Now over here, I cannot just spot check what was sold together, but I only see 2. The first 2 were the same, but the last wasn't. Oh, look at that, 12 and 13 is the same order. Okay, so it helps you to determine which of these products, okay, go together very well and efficiently, right? So what products are most often sold together? This is the best way to, look at it. All right. So now that we have seen how to do RFM analysis, and then we've done some, uh, XML path analysis to determine which products are sold together. We've also seen the monthly sales and all of that. You can play with the data and do more. There are so many things you can do. We have the country, we have the city. You can do the sales across the city or the price across the city to determine if the product is in America, how expensive is it, and versus if it's in France, how expensive it is, right? So you can do such analysis to see how it's going. But for now, let's move on to Tableau and see how we can visualize some of these data sets. So if you did install Tableau, like I said, then in your search, I use Windows. I'm going to type Tableau public. It should pop up, and I'm just going to click on that. Tableau public, where are you? Okay, so I'm going to click on that. It's going to open. Give it a few, it's loading. Okay, so download and install when I quit. Remind me tomorrow. Maybe I'll go with that option. Remember when I started the video, I showed you some dashboards that I had built. Yeah, these are the dashboards. So we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to go to my file location, and I'm going to say that the file is a CSV. Okay, so we're going to do a text file. So we're going to click on text, and then I'm going to select my file, and I'm going to hit open. So now that the file is open, let me maximize this. I may have to remove my image because with Tableau, I may need a few things from the top and all that. But anyways, we'll see. So now that that file has been selected, we see that the data is here called the sales data sample, just like we had in the SQL script. Now we will go to sheet 1. Okay, our data source looks good. It says we have 25 fields and 2823 rows. Okay, so this is just the data that we are working with in SQL. So we're going to do a quick Tableau dashboard here. The first thing that we'll do, we will do the sales distribution across, just a count. So we will just drag sales onto to the columns, and I'll change the chart. You know what? Let me pause for a second, remove my image, and let's continue. All right, so let's continue. I wanted to see the show me here because that is where you see the different charts that you can build, and my image was covering that part. So, all right, now what I want to start with is the sales distribution. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop it here, and depending on the data type. So before I continue, over here, the items you see with the green are what you call the measures. And what you see here at the top are what you call the attributes. Okay, so the blues are the attributes, and then the greens are the facts or the dimension, sorry, or the measures. Okay, so once you drag a data point onto your column or your row, the show me here will give you access to the type of charts you can build with a data set. So for this, I'm going to move away from the horizontal bars to histogram. Okay, so this is what I want, and I'm going to probably change the color of the bars to, let's say, this. Yeah, I will stick to that. And then whatever name I'm going to give to my sheet would also show here. All right. But if you don't want that to be the name of the sheet, you can change that as well. But for now, let me show you how. So I'm going to call this sales distribution. And because I want to modify the header, if I double click on that, it will give me the chance to rename my dashboard, or sorry, my workbook or not. I'm just going to call it the same. And probably I'm going to change the font color to, let's say, this, and apply, and make it bold, apply. I think it looks good. And maybe I want to change the background color. So I'll do format, and I'll go to shading, and for the work sheet, I'll change the background to, all right, this looks good. And maybe I can go to the font, and for the worksheet, I want to let the font be bold, like the count of sales and all that. All right, so good. So we have our sales distribution. So let's move on quickly because we're going to build multiple worksheets. And after we are done with the worksheets, then we can build our dashboard. So the next one I want to go through is the sales, sorry, the price. Let's see, and I'm going to do a histogram again and probably change the color. Okay, I'll stick to this and I'll call this, let's move through this quickly, price distribution. And I'll leave the background and everything as is because I want to move through this pretty fast. All right, so I'll go to the next and I'll look at the quantity. So I'm going to drag it here, and just like we did, I'm going to do a histogram, but for this one, I'm just going to change it from bars to line chart, and that looks good. So I'm going to call that quantity. Yep, quantity distribution. And if there's time, I'll probably change the background and a few other things. So the next one that I want to do is the deal size. So now I'm going to combine the sales, which is a measure, and then deal size, which is a dimension or an attribute. So I'm going to put the sales here. Oops, I meant to do just one sales. And then deal size. Okay, good. And probably I want the color of the bars to be changed upon the type of deal it is. That is good, and I think I want to change the order. Perfect. Let me hide this header here and call this deal size distribution. All right. So I'll leave this as is. Or maybe let me just give this a quick shading. And let me try. That looks good. And maybe let me pretend to be renaming this, and I'll copy that. And this title, I'm going to paste this here, and I want to make this bold. And I want this to be fine. Let me see. Okay, this is lovely. All right, let's go next. The next one I want to do is the revenue. I'm just going to do the sales by year. We noticed in the SQL that the 2004 year was their best. Let me change this to line as well. Good. And probably I want the sales amount to be seen. And make this a little bit wider. Yeah. So now I'm going to just hide this again because once I give it a title here, you should see it anyway. So I'm going to say, annual revenue. Copy this, and I'm going to change. Let me give it a color. Remove that. Apply bold. You see, good, good, good. And then let me make this blue, green. I'll stick to this. And maybe let me change the background. I have to be fast with this one. All right, this looks good to me. I'll go next. The other one I want to do is revenue by country. So I'm going to put revenue here. And where's my country? And you see the icon on the country. that is like a globe, right? So it shows the geography. That means that with this particular data set, if I wanted to plot a map, I could do that, right? I could use the map, right? But I don't want to do a map. I want to do, what is this called? Tree map. Let me try this. Yeah. So per the amount of revenue generated by the country, the size of the square will be bigger. So United States is the country that generated the most revenue, followed by France, maybe Spain, and then France. Yeah. So I'm just going to change the color here. Edit colors. I'm just going to do, what do I want? Green gold. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah. So the biggest value or the highest value is more green, and then the smallest amount is like yellow. All right. So it's like small to big. All right. Okay. I want to call this, what do I want to call this? Revenue by country. Let me copy this. I'm about to oops, double click, paste this here. I want this to be bold, apply, and I want this to be let's do this. I don't care how this looks, but I mean you get the point. All right, so the next one I want to do quickly is the product. So we're going to do product line. We've had 7 products, and then how much was sold. And for this, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's do the pack bubbles. And I'm going to call this sheet revenue by product line. So this, let me make this red. Do I change the background? Yes, let's do that. Shading, worksheet. Yep. Go with that. Do this. I think I love this one. All right, so let's go next. The other one I'm going to do is probably another bubble. I'm just going to use the status. I'm going to do the sales. More interested in sales. Wow. Okay, let's do this. So most of the orders have shipped, which is good. The fact that they have shipped means they will go to the customer, means the sales will probably be completed. If it's not under on hold or in process or is canceled, then it's good, right? So this is let me copy that, and this is revenue by status. Make this bold, and I want to make this color. Okay, I love this. And do I change the background? Yes. If I want to have an exact dashboard that I showed in the beginning of the video, then I may have to go through them one by one. But I don't want to waste too much time on it. So the next one, we are getting closer to building our dashboards. So I'm going to do sales by customers. But this time I'm going to introduce a filter because I don't want, let me make the bar chart this way. Perfect. And I'm going to apply a filter because if I go with just sales and customers, we have customers from different countries. So it'd be nicer if I can put a country in the filter. And let me just select Denmark and apply just for, to get something started. And then when I toggle this, I can do a show filter. All right, now I see all the countries. And I'm going to deselect and then probably take, let's say France. Look at that. Okay, let me actually apply the customer name as a color of the bar. All right, so let me drag it and drop onto color. Yeah, I love this. So I'm going to hide this again. And I'm going to call this, I'll call this, let me rename and paste this customer distribution by country. And over here, I'm just going to make this bold, apply. What color can I do? Just leave it as black, and then add a background color. And this I'm gonna go with like something like bluish. So we have the different colors per the customer name, and you have the legend here that tells you which color is for which customer. All right. So now let's go to sheet 10, and then let's create monthly sales by country. So now let's see the sales, sales by month. Okay. And then now, okay, good. So there were 12 months, but then I want to pass, what is it called? The country as a filter again, because let me go with, the US. Where's the US? Let me see how this looks like. All right, but I want to change this to, let's say, an area chat. That looks good. And probably for the country, I want to see their year by year sales, right? So let's put the year on the color. Nice. So now I have the year. If you see blue, that is 2003. Orange, that is 2004. And kind of red is 2005. Remember, red being 2005, we saw that there was only 5 months, right? 1 to 5. And that's exactly what we see here. And the other two went through the entire year, right? So for United States, probably let's put the sales amount in the label. Doesn't look pretty. Should I keep it? Should I not? I'll leave it like this and then think about it for a second. I'll come back to it. Remove this and I'll call this monthly sales by country. Monthly sales, rename monthly sales by country, and then I'm going to apply, make this bold, and change the color to purple. Apply that. I mean, you don't have to be doing all the formatting and all that. I mean, just to show how it's done. I mean, I've done it repetitively, so now you should know how to do that. Probably we should just create one more and then get our dashboard going. So the last thing I want to add is sales by product line and order quantity. So what I'll do is I'll drag the sales again. Now put my product line here. Okay, and I'm going to add my year. Okay, so right now what we have here is the classic, let me order it by, no, this order is okay. So in the classic cars, they made the best sales in 2004. And for motorcycles, yes, they made the best sale in 2004. Almost all of them had their best sales in 2004, best revenue in 2004. All right. So what I would do is I'll probably change this from bar charts to something interesting. Let's do a line chart. And probably let's add the revenue amount. What else can we do? Maybe we can add the product line to the color. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, this is better. So open this a little bit wider and then let's go into the formatting. So do I show filter? No. All right, let me go to formatting, shading, and on the shading, I'll go to the background and make this a little bit purple. And I want to call this sales. What do I want to call this? Sales by product line and order year. Apply, make it bold, apply, and then I'll make this even more purple. How about that? There we go. Let me give the name, the sheet name the same thing. Okay, so now we have all our different worksheets or workbooks. Let me make this a little bit, the font. For the sheets, let me make this bold. No, I don't want that to be bold. I'll do that. I want zip. Okay, that's what I wanted. And should I hide this? No. Okay, so right now we have all the workbooks ready. Now we are going to click on, when you see this icon here, the one that looks like 4 squares, that is your dashboard. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to call that sales-1. Sales dash here means dashboard, okay? Sales dash one. And over here, I'm going to change the sheet, okay? I'm going to change that to automatic. Perfect. Now, what I want to do first is that I want to drag where's my bar chart. I want to drag this here. And then I want to have my, area chart, sorry, the tree map. And then under that, I want to have my, let me put this here. There we go. We're getting closer to what I had previously built. And then I'm going to drag my line chart here. How about that? So I just have to reduce this a little bit and then make this a little bit smaller. No, I cannot do that. Oh no. All right, so let me undo this. And then let me bring this back. That works for me. Okay, so this is the first dash that we built. The ones that we didn't apply any background color, I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but if we had applied some background color, it will look pretty neat. And all the filters that we had put on the worksheets, you can see here, if I uncheck France, this is gone. But then if I use, let me see, Canada. Did I select? There we go. Okay, I don't like the way this looks. Let me add France. And let me add Belgium. Let me remove Canada. Okay, so now I have two different countries selected. Okay, so let's go to our second dash, and that I'm going to call it sales dash 2. Oh no, I created a worksheet instead of a dashboard. Delete and go here. There we go, dashboard. Sales dash 2. And I'll change the size to automatic, and over here I'm going to put my line chart, and then I'm going to drag and drop my I'm going to drag this here to my right, and then on top of that I want to put this status, revenue by status, and right before that let me do the deal size here like that. And then I'm going to do my other, this one here, put that one here. So now I'm going to drag this. I'm going to drag this a little bit more to the right. Oh no, it doesn't look good. I'll leave it as this. How about now? All right, so this is our second dashboard. And now we are ready to publish this to, what is it called? Tableau Public, okay? I don't know if for this worksheet I did show the, yes, I didn't. Let me show the filter here. So I'll show the country, and then we can toggle that. Oh, depending on the country you select, the chart looks very interesting. Ooh, I love this. Okay, so now let me go back to my dashboard. Yep. Okay. Why can't I see it? Let me remove this and bring it back again. Let me see how it goes. There we go. So now I have my filters here. So what I would do is now I would go to publish. Okay. So I have two dashboards that I want to publish. Okay. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to say Save to Tableau Public As. All right. And then I'm going to give it a name. And if you haven't logged into Tableau Public, it's going to ask for your username, which is your email address, and then your password. So I'm going to call this Sales Dashboard because I have Sales Dash 1. So I'm going to call it Sales Dashboard 1. Now hit Save. There we go. So this is the one that I built, and this is the new one that we have. All right. Obviously, there are some differences. It's just the background color. Okay. So we have to go back and get the other one to published. I think I want to remove. Let's keep the values on there. So do the same thing. Publish to public as. and then I'm going to say sales dashboard 2, and I'll hit save, and let's see what we get. Perfect. So this is the first one that I built, and this is the second one. All right. So not necessarily the same, but very identical. Okay, not necessarily the same, but very, very identical. All right, so this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you found the entire session very helpful. Please do like my videos and also do comment, share, and subscribe. I hope to catch you on my next video. Thank you for watching.